Picture this, sitting in a stuffy classroom on the first day of classes, you're eagerly waiting for your professor to begin going over this new content. Slowly but surely, though, you start to realize that something's missing. You. More accurately, what happened when I joined Latino Studies was I realized that Central Americans really just weren't on the map. We were a passing note, maybe a day's worth of discussion, but ultimately not quite central to what Latino Studies seemed to care about. Unsurprisingly, I pretty quickly turned to what sources did exist on Central Americans, especially those in the US. The so-called Central American Americans, especially those who were creating art about being Central American in the US, were pretty much the focus of quite a few scholars. That said, these scholars, the few who were working on it, weren't really looking at these people as more than just Central American. Despite the fact that many openly identified as LGBTQ, they just weren't talking about these intersections of identity. And as someone who was Guatemalan and queer, it was quite surprising and a little disappointing to find that so few people were talking about this. I mean, we were being erased not just as Central American, but as LGBTQ as well. And as I thought on this more and more, I'm just like, what can I do? As a result, my thesis tries to focus on filling in these gaps, asking the most basic question of how do queer Central American artists in the US tell their stories? Though, of course, this brings up other questions of identity, art practice, etc. What initially did draw me to this work was the question of stories and lived experience. What happens when we go beyond a top-down interpretation of art and really look at these artists' frame of reference? In thinking through those who I wanted to focus on, I chose two that are fairly exemplary. Maya Chinchilla's poetry served as a large impetus for Central American studies, and Oscar Moises Diaz is an up-and-coming star in the world of contemporary Central American art. Representing different national origins, gender and racial identifications, and art practices, they really do demonstrate just how diverse queer Central American stories can be. Though I continue to focus on making sure that I'm answering the questions for my thesis, ultimately I'm trying to go beyond just mere close readings of their artwork. I really want to focus on oral history as well to make sure that we document something, that we get these people's voices out there, that we make them accessible and readily accessible to even those outside the academy. There are others focusing on trying to find themselves here in Latino studies, and I want to make sure that we make it just that much easier for another queer Central American like myself to find their answers.